He's also the author of Debacle, and tax and debacle, kind of two words that sort of go together. Grover, nice to have you as always. Great to see you. So let's talk a little bit about what the CBO is predicting, which is in a nutshell. Congresspeople on both sides of the aisle don't get together and figure this out. We're going off a fiscal cliff. Is that true?
Well, if nothing is done on January 1st, so 2 months after the election, this is going to be very much front and center, like that truck that turned over right in front of our face as we go in to vote, because fewer than 60 days later, there's an automatic tax increase that hits. The 2001 and 2003 tax cuts are eliminated. The expensing for business investment, very important to manufacturing, that disappears. The tax increases on dividends triple. It's going to be the capital gains tax goes up. All the taxes on all individuals, income tax go up. Taxes on businesses go up because most businesses pay the personal income tax. It's over a $400 billion tax increase the first year, starts January 1st. Then there's also spending reductions, which I think are a great idea, and were part of the agreement to raise, when Obama wanted to raise the debt ceiling, the Republicans said you got to reduce spending at the same time. Some spending restraint begins to take place then. But this fiscal tax increase coming straight at the American people 60 days after the election, unless Congress votes to extend the lower taxes. Now, what's interesting is President Obama and Harry Reid, who was quoted there, could have made that happen any day in 2009. They had a supermajority in the House and Senate. Any day in 2010, and chose not to. So when Reid says, we'd really like to get this done, I'm not sure what he's talking about, because it's what he didn't do when he had the power to do it.
Although the CBO makes it very clear that they think that this is a bipartisan problem. Who wanted to do it?
Well, I mean, Grover, obviously you know that there's a difference between Democrats and Republicans about which of those tax cuts they want to renew. But I have a question for you, Grover. Last year, Boehner and Obama almost came very close to this grand bargain that would have included $800 billion in new revenue. What was your view of that? And number two, there's some Republicans out there that are off the Grover Norquist reservation recently. Alan West said you're a little misguided. So what's going on? Are you able to still get all these Republicans to vote your way on taxes, or are things slipping as we approach this fiscal cliff?
Two things. One, the commitment that most Republicans have taken is in writing and to the American people. I know Harry Reid keeps acting as if it's a commitment to me. That's, I don't know, cute politics or something on his part, but it's not true. The congressmen and senators have made a written commitment to the voters of their states they won't raise taxes. As for last year, what Boehner, the Speaker of the House, told the President repeatedly was, we're not raising taxes, period, end of conversation. We will accept higher revenue through economic growth by reducing marginal tax rates, supply-side economic growth. Absolutely, that would count towards reducing the deficit that Obama had run up. That Obama knew. Boehner made that clear. Some of the Democrats chose to say, well, if he agrees to revenues, maybe we can make him eat $800 billion in tax increases. And the answer was no. And so what we did do in 2011, the House and the Senate and the President, was agree to cut spending $2.5 trillion and not raise taxes. That was a good negotiation. It was a big success, unless you wanted to raise taxes, in which case you lost.
What about Alan West saying you're a little misguided? What do you think of that, Grover?
Well, what Alan West was quoted as saying was, if you eliminated all the waste in the government, he might consider a tax increase down the road. One, okay, that's kind of a hypothetical that's a little bit silly. The other part is that Alan West and all the Republicans have already voted once and a second time now for the Ryan plan, which reduces government spending through reforming entitlements, doesn't raise taxes, and puts us on a path to eliminating the national debt, not just reducing the deficit. So Alan West doesn't have to worry. He's never going to have the opportunity to vote for a tax increase in order to balance the budget. We can do it by reducing spending. already cast that vote.
Margaret.
Demonizing. Grover, hi, it's Margaret Hoover. It's good to see you again.
Hi.
I know one of the things we've talked about a lot is the Democrats' strategy to demonize you and make you the villain of the tax debate rather than, as you pointed out, the pledge is actually to the American people. But I wonder if you can hone in on, during this debate, as we look back at Bull Simpson and it sort of looks good in the rearview mirror, at least in terms of most Americans suggesting we would have gotten something done, the debate still comes back to you. Grover Norquist would have said, that's bad because it closes loopholes. Can you put an end to the question about closing loopholes for people who are watching?
Yeah. Look, the Taxpayer Protection Pledge was designed in 1986. President Reagan set up the Americans for Tax Reform, the group that I run, and asked me to run it, to be the outside group to help push tax reform. What was that? 1986, reduce tax rates, broaden the base so it didn't raise taxes, it was revenue neutral, but it eliminated many, not all, but many of the deductions and credits that cluttered up the tax code and was inefficient, and reduced rates, which gave us more economic growth. Very helpful. So the Americans for Tax Reform, the American people, are all in favor of getting rid of deductions and credits, but not if it's a Trojan horse for just higher taxes. So let's reduce deductions and credits. Let's reduce marginal tax rates. Congressman Pompeo of Kansas has a great bill that eliminates all the tax credits targeted towards energy, natural gas, oil, algae, everything, and instead reduces tax rates for everybody. So if you want a clean tax code, lower taxes, and no special deductions, Pompeo's bill on energy.
You're going to have to get into it with Grover Norquist on your own time because we're out of time. Grover, always nice to have you. Thanks for being with us.
Good to be with you. Thank you.